on in. So not sure where you find yourself on this Sunday evening, but I know you found yourself today enjoying the sunshine. We had temperatures in the low 50s. It's like nothing's going to happen, right? Well, boy, things are going to change quickly here across Northeast Ohio, as you'd expect for late November into December. So thanks for joining us. We'll let a couple people log in here and get the party started here. It's Matt Wintz here from Channel 3. We've got a winter storm heading our way here across northern Ohio. You've probably heard about it. We've been talking about it over the last week or so, and now we're really diving into the details on how this thing's going to play out across much of the area here, really tomorrow, Tuesday into early Wednesday. So we've got about a 2.5 to 3 day stretch of some rough weather here. So here's what we're dealing with in terms of watches and warnings right now. The Weather Service issued a winter storm watch for the dark blue counties. This also tomorrow evening. So we've got the whole day tomorrow before things start to go south in terms of that wintry weather. We've got winter weather advisories down towards the south of that, those light blue areas. That happens tomorrow afternoon on through Tuesday evening. And then you see nothing for Tuscarawas and Carroll counties. Do not get bogged down on the details in terms of who's under a watch, who's under an advisory. We're all going to experience winter weather conditions of some point as we go over the next 2 days. So it's going to get kind of rough, especially in those blue shaded areas. But I could argue that some of the other counties, especially Lorain out towards the west, are going to see pretty impactful weather as well. So here's the big picture right now. We've got an area low pressure that is just now developing. We've been tracking some of the heavier rain, even severe weather across the Gulf Coast. But for us, what we need to notice is there's just a big chunk of moisture, all right? This is a lot of heavy rain and a lot of moisture that is going to be heading in our direction. You can see it better here on the water vapor loop. This shows some of the drier air punching into the system from back and behind. And the big thing to notice here is this big old trough that goes down into Texas. That's going to really kickstart our area of low pressure. And at the same time, you notice this other little feature off towards the north. It's a little dip you see here. Everything coming at us from the north and the west. That's our cold air. And as we look at the temperatures aloft or up in the atmosphere, we've got some very cold air moving in aloft. So why do I show you all this? Well, we've got the moisture, check. We've got the cold air aloft, check, but they're not together right now. That's why the system's mainly rain. However, that cold air is really going to work into the system over the next couple days, and that's when we're going to see that rain change to snow for a good portion of this entire system. So let's take you through. This is the latest model run. We can get a little bit different here on Facebook and the webpage. You can see as we go through time, we bring that rain in, strong area low pressure develops, heads right up the spine of the Appalachian mountain chain. And you can see as we go into your Monday morning, it's mainly rain across Ohio. We're still on the warm side of the system, but remember that cold air aloft is going to work in. So all that rain is going to start to transition to snow as that cold air filters into the system. At the same time, you've got a very strong area low pressure really ramping up as you get up towards upstate New York. The result will be a wind that starts to increase, rain changing to snow, and you notice that wind direction. You see those white lines. Those are isobars. That shows not just the direction of the wind, but the speed of the wind based on how close together they are. So we've got isobars that are tightly packed there coming across from a north to northwest flow across the lake. If you've lived here long enough, you know what that means. That will not only keep the system snow going, or the snow associated with this area low pressure, but it'll also tie in some lake effect snow. And when that's tied up with the system snow, we call it lake enhanced snow. So it's snow that's already falling that gets enhanced, or you have a higher snowfall rate because of the lake. So that is what we're going to get into. So likely by Tuesday, and again, I'm going to go out of the bird's eye view here. We're going to go into the details here in a second, but I want to show you big picture first. But that will really ramp up our snowfall rates along the lakeshore counties especially, and it's got enough push to it to go inland into our secondary snow belt, like areas of northern Summit County, Portage County, for example, as you'll see here in a little bit. We head on into Tuesday. Tuesday looks like a snowy day area-wide. This will be mainly confined to our lake effect areas, but you can see the widespread area of just snow shower activity, so everyone's going to get some snow on Tuesday. That low kind of sits there for a day or two before kind of winding down as we get on into Wednesday, as we bring some drier air in here, so that lake effect will start to go away. In terms of the Euro model, these are some of the snowfall totals that the Euro is painting at. I don't have numbers on here for a reason, because I just want to show you trends right now. And you can see the bullseye right across northern Ohio, especially close to the lake. But pretty much all the Buckeye State's going to get some decent snow out of this. Even areas as far south as Marietta, even Cincinnati, going to get some snow. And in fact, that snow will stretch all the way down into Tennessee and North Georgia. How about that? So that's the Euro model. And look at this. This is a GFS model. This is what we call consensus, right? These models look almost identical. That is so rare for a system to have two nearly identical models. So our forecast confidence with this, because the model guidance agrees, it kind of lines up with our forecast that we've been thinking, everything coming into line right now in terms of who's going to get the snow and where it's going to fall heaviest. And that looks to be, again, along our lakeshore counties with everyone getting a piece of pie with this. So let's go hour by hour. Let's sort out the details. We're going to start with your daytime tomorrow. Keep in mind, much of the day tomorrow is going to feature rain. We're not going to have any snowflakes falling, especially in the Cleveland areas east of 71 until very late in the day. So that being said, the only thing we're going to have are wet streets and lots of rainfall falling during the day for most of us. But remember that cold air aloft. So that cold air aloft's coming in from the west. So our model here, which I tend to agree with, has all rain tomorrow morning. Temperatures upper 30s off towards the west, 40s elsewhere. But as we go into your Monday midday, that's when we start to change some of that rain over to some big old wet snowflakes off towards the west. This may happen a little sooner than this model's depicting. So I would not be surprised if we had big wet snowflakes mixing in from Sandusky, areas of Erie, Huron County, down towards Norwalk and Mansfield. Those western locations are going to be the first to see the big snowflakes. I wouldn't be surprised if around noon, 1 or 2, we have that happening already. Although our model's saying rain here, we may have that a little sooner than what the model's saying. Keep that in mind. The rest of us are rain at 2, all right? Here's what happens as we go throughout the evening. Let's fast forward to 6, 7 o'clock. That wet snow has now changed over all the way down towards the Akron area. As you get down towards Worcester, Mansfield, you're all snow. Just changing over in Medina up towards Elyria, Lorain, and then it's still rain up towards the lakeshore and off towards the east. But we're starting to see, especially after that sun goes down, that transition to these big wet snowflakes, and that's really what they're going to be. This is going to be a picturesque snowfall that's going to be heavy wet snow. It's not going to be fun to shovel, not going to be good for the snowblower either, but it's going to look nice on the trees, that's for sure. But as you see as we go through time tomorrow evening, we're almost all snow across the area, with the exception being the extreme lakeshore. So downtown may still have a lot of raindrops falling at 11 o'clock at night because that wind is coming off the lake. Lake water temperature is still in the upper 40s, and so that's going to keep a lot of that from changing over to snow across our immediate lakeshore. That includes areas of Lake County. You may be one of the last to change over as well, out towards Ashtabula County, Trumbull County. I would imagine you would be snow at this point. Again, we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, everyone else, the sun has gone down, so we've lost that solar radiation. We've got big old wet snowflakes falling, and temperatures, as you can see tomorrow evening, back towards Mansfield and Worcester have now fallen below freezing. That's the recipe for some messy travel starting to set up across a good portion of the southwestern half of the viewing area. As we go through time, you can see Tuesday morning, this is 6 a.m. This is when I think we'll see some of the biggest impacts as the system continues to pull out. But remember, we've got the lake-enhanced snow falling, so we've got particularly heavy snowfall rates that will likely be happening from downtown out towards the east, the higher terrain of Geauga County. This may even stretch back into Lorain County as well, in areas of Medina County, even Erie, Huron County. You could get into some of these heavier snowfall rates as we have the snow that's already falling from the system. Then you bring in that lake moisture. We can get some very impressive rates out of this, especially looking at some of the soundings and some of the cold air that we have aloft. It's going to be bitterly cold as you go up into the atmosphere at this time, and so I think we're going to have a messy commute for those that are still commuting on Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, it's just snow showers, but we'll likely have heavier bursts as you get down towards the south as well. So Dover, New Philly, Carrollton, Worcester, you're not out of the woods with us either, although the biggest impacts I think will be up towards the lakeshore. In terms of wind, I've got a couple comments coming in about the wind. How strong is the wind going to be? We'll have gusts to 30. I don't see this as a huge windstorm kind of system. We'll have breezy to windy conditions. It'll be very blustery outside. But in terms of the really powerful winds, especially that we've had with the last couple storm systems, I don't see that happening with this one. The forward motion is going to be away from us at this point, so we'll lose kind of that speed. And 20, 30 mile per hour winds, I think, will do it with this. May see some higher gusts along the immediate lakeshore, but I don't anticipate a ton of blowing snow with this. And the other reason why is because this is going to be a heavy wet snow that doesn't blow around really easily. All right, as we go through time here, Tuesday morning into Tuesday midday, we start to lose the snow away from the lakes. This becomes more of a lake effect event as you get into the primary snow belt and the secondary snow belt. I think we'll hang on to some real good snow falling in Lorain County, northern Medina, northern Summit, Portage, Trumbull County. I think you'll get into this as well, with heavy snow also falling from greater Cleveland area out towards the east. Tuesday just looks tricky, especially as you get towards the I-90, I-271 corridor. It does not look good Tuesday. I would imagine we'll have a lot of snow to contend with, not just on the ground, but on area roadways as well, as ODOT tries to keep up. The good news is temperatures will be in the low 30s, so that is very good for salt going to work on area roadways, and I think that'll hold up nicely. It's just a matter when you get these heavy snowfall rates, you have some problems. And then Tuesday evening, it becomes all lake effect at this point, out Lake Geauga, Ashtabula counties, and then maybe some still lingering in the secondary snow belt, but we'll start to clear out elsewhere. So how much are we thinking here? Let's go into the snowfall totals. We get together, especially during big events like this, every day as a Channel 3 weather team. So we had a long discussion on Zoom earlier today, and we all kind of sorted out our totals, and this is what we came up with. We could see higher amounts. I know everyone always looks towards the upper range of your total, so if it says 3 to 6 where you live, just pick your spot on the map. If it says 3 to 6, I know we all focus on the 6. I get it. Could easily be 3 as well, but I think these ranges are pretty accurate. We'll see how this storm ends up, but from Canton down towards just from Akron down to the south, I think is where we'll get in some of those lighter totals. And remember that lake enhancement we were talking about, that is going to play such a key role, especially if we're getting 1 to 2 inches an hour at times with some of this heavier snowfall. I think 5 to 9 inches and that very key plus on there for areas in purple. But this just isn't for the main snow belt. Look how back towards the west, Mansfield, Ashland, up towards northern Wayne County, Medina, you're in the bullseye for some of that heavier snow as well. A lot of the modeling would agree with that, and also our experience from forecasting here in Northeast Ohio. That lake enhancement is everything. I'm telling you, you can squeak out an extra 3 or 4 inches just from having Lake Erie there out of a system. And notice right along the shoreline here, right in here, we've got lesser amounts. And the reason why is because, again, that lake water temperature in the upper 40s, so we're not going to get these real hefty accumulations along the immediate lakeshore. You may end up with several inches less, but you know how it goes this time of year. If you go just a couple miles inland, you're back into the snow again. So in terms of impacts, we could talk numbers. We could talk, in terms of wind and how heavy the snow is going to be. The thing you really care about are impacts. And if you're working from home, if you've been quarantining or whatever your family has chosen to do, this may be a little bit different as compared to the people that still have to commute. I was thinking the other day, because I've been at home since March, shoveling the driveway isn't going to be nearly as tough anymore. I just have to shovel it out for the mailman. So I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking that same thing. Like, why do I have to shovel the driveway anymore? So that's one of the highlights of obviously working from home, but a lot of you still have to commute and work, and this is what you're going to be dealing with in terms of impact. So we've got a high impact in terms of snow. This is going to be one of our bigger snow events we've had over the last couple of years. At least that's our thinking right now. My mind goes back to January, or actually almost 2 years ago now, when we had our last real big snowfall across the region. I think this will rival it in many ways. In terms of travel, I think we'll have high impacts on that as well. We'll not just have wind, but we'll have a lot of slush and snow around. And again, some of these rates, especially if you get in those key areas up towards the lakeshore, are going to be a little bit too much for ODOT to be able to keep up, although they'll have all their crews out, I'm sure. And in terms of power outages, again, it will have gusty wind. I'm not seeing this as being a huge deal alone, but we've got that heavy snow that's going to kind of plaster everything. It may weigh down some of the trees and power lines, and you know how that goes across the area. If you get some of those strong winds, we could certainly have some power outages. I love this because this breaks it down into an easily digestible way to understand the storm. Again, tomorrow, and please remember this, when it's not snowing in the afternoon, it's going to be all rain tomorrow, all right, for most of the day and most of the area. That mix will happen west of 71 first, so the areas that don't typically see a lot of snow, you're actually going to see the snowflakes first. I think for the remainder of us, it starts to transition tomorrow evening, mainly after the sun goes down. I think that's when we'll really start to transition. And it's going to be sloppy at first. We'll go from rain to kind of these big old snowflakes mixing in, and then eventually it'll change over to all big snowflakes. But it's going to be a sloppy transition. It's not going to be a clean-cut line like you'd have with a strong cold front. And then by tomorrow night, again, widespread snow and wind. Tuesday morning, widespread snow and wind. And then by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, into Wednesday morning, that's when it transitions to a little bit more of a lake effect pattern rather than anything else. So that's kind of the overall look to this. I hope that certainly helped clear things up. We'll go back to our snow total map and we'll keep it on that. I'm seeing a lot of questions for what about my town? What about my town? So please pick your spot on the map geographically. You should know what county that you're in right now, and you should know where you live on the Northeast Ohio map. And again, this is our best thinking. We don't just throw these snow totals and see what sticks. There's a lot of thought, a lot of science that goes into this, because we're literally predicting how many snowflakes fall from these clouds from a storm that's not even here yet, and how much will it add up. A lot of this will compact. Remember, heavy wet snow is going to be very high moisture content with this, so it will be very compactable. This is great snowman making snow. It's not so great to shovel, and even snow blowers, again, if you get a high enough liquid content, it really causes some snowblower trouble as well. So keep that in mind as we go forward. But this is really going to be Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday during the day, especially for the snowbelt kind of event. So we still got a little bit of time to go here. All right, so we're going to wrap this up here. I appreciate all of you joining us. I'll have another update tonight after football. Your entire weather team's on it. We got you covered. This is certainly going to be a noteworthy storm. I know we can handle it here in northern Ohio. We've had snow before. We don't like to overdo things here. This isn't like a huge headline, click here kind of thing. This is hey, we've got some decent snow on the way and we'll get through it. But here's what we're thinking in terms of heaviest totals and impact. So hope that helped. Everyone enjoy your Sunday evening, and we'll talk to you again tonight after Sunday Night Football.